Na, sziasztok! Itt vagyok következő Call of Cthulhu-val. 6. fejezet. Szabadultam az elmegyógyintézetből az előző részben. És elég furcsa dolgok történtek. Újra Hawkins villában vagyunk. Kíváncsi vagyok, hogy folytatódik. És remélem van hangom. Stream közben. Jó, van, király. Ott egy szem.
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Egyből inni akar. Kis alkoholista. Elég fura volt, hogy mi a rendőrt láttuk meghalni. De közben mégis itt van és él. Úgy néz ki, majd beszélgetni kell velük.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Na, hát akkor... mondjuk el azt, hogy ugye Bradley-t láttuk meghalni. De, nem elég fejlett a medicine.
I heard you talking earlier.
Why am I not surprised?
I get the impression you two don't get along.
Intrusive and not very clever. Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
It seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
Szóval a rendőr az nem emlékszik rá, hogy rálőtt volna arra a polipfejűre. Ugye a Hawkins család feje volt.
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And then?
I went to visit you at the hospital, and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
Nem emlékszik semmire. Vagyis, ja, amire mi emlékszünk, arra ő nem. A barlangba történtek.
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Érdekes. Mit válaszoljak?
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to
Halottakat
mention those
láttuk.
strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes. I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the truth, Ethan. And I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Egy láthatatlan erő.
Speak.
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness
Hoppá.
than ignorance. Very well.
Ez a döntés hatással lesz a végzetemre.
Perhaps I'll find a link
Érdekes.
between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Van 5 fejlesztéspontom. Szerintem az elég stabil. Még. De meg lehet őrülni a játékba. Fúj. Véri Colden, doktor. Ugye ő halt meg. Azt láthatatlan erő ölte meg. Jó sok mindent összeszedtem.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
Gyerünk, Sanders videó. Del Schwarte. Szar. Több a töltési idő, mint a játék. A Sanders rezidenciára igyekszünk.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Hoppá, ez is itt van.
Well, look who's here. You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're
Looks like it's
investigating
easy
Francis'
together.
death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
Elmondjam neki, hogy meghalt.
He started raving, screaming that a dimensional shambler had found him.
Mercy, that story again. Why have him interned?
That was when he began to convulse and twist with pain. Or terror, it's hard to tell.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not really sure of what I saw, or what I didn't see. But it's best that you weren't there.
I should have been there. What you're telling me is outrageous. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you. But I had nothing to do with the death of your husband. I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins family.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows
Így
only
van, ez nem
tragedy
egy baleset
after
volt.
tragedy. You too would be advised to flee it like the plague. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can't imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Ideje körülnézni.
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Ez a Shambler, ez a festmény. És ugye a elmegyógyintézetben azt mondta A vakcsávó, hogy a Shambler ölte meg.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. A house of artists.
Mit kéne még keresni?
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler. Finally. What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
Aha.
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why?
Gyűlölte Szara festményét. A felesége.
First refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel?
Saját szemét vágta ki.
The Shambler. I need to see it. Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Ezt meg kell hallgatni. Fonográf. Babaló. Arra csak azt a Shambler festményt kell megtalálni.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
Amulettet találtam.
I could use one of those.
Megint altatók.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Napló. És egy kulcs. A galériába. Olvassuk el. Most ez is befolyásolta a végzetem, hogy elolvastam ezt a könyvet.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I have a well-off client in Boston who heard about the death of Francis Sanders and wanted me to size up his estate before making an offer to his widow.
Nice story. Bad lie. Learn how to dupe, Detective. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your visit.
And you,
És te mit csinálsz itt?
what brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Ez mi? Egy íj? Vagy mi ez? Itt is egy fura festmény. Itt is egy tőr. Ott a semblőr. Ide el lehet bújni, ugye? Miért lehet itt elbújni?
The public entrance to the gallery. Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Itt is fegyverek.
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
Ó, ez kemény. Van lámpám, vagyis olaj. Ez a híres festmény. Mint egy szörny szája lenne. Ó, de... Oszta. Oszta píró. Ez kemény. Most ez valóság, vagy halucinál?
What the hell was that?
Agyán! Erre nem készültem fel.
What the hell was that?
Láthatatlan. Faszom.
What the hell was that?
Takarodj.
I can't even touch it.
Mi a franc?
No way out. No choice. I must get rid
Bújj már el!
That thing came out of this painting. There has to be a link. Maybe if I destroy it.
El kell pusztítani.
That thing came out of this painting.
Faszom. Hogy pusztítsam el a festőt?
What the hell was that? That thing came out of this painting. There has to be a link. Maybe if I destroy it.
Nem értem.
What the hell was that?
El kell pusztítani a festményt, hogy a szörny meghaljon. De mivel?
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Ah! Hát de ugyanúgy megöl.
What the hell was that? Maybe I can use this dagger.
De nem történik semmi.
Damn it! What the hell was that?
Ez nem működött.
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Annyi fegyver van itt. Ez megint nem jó. Mivel kéne megölni?
What the hell was that? Maybe I can use this dagger.
Esély. $500 fegyver, ezt egyik se jó hozzá.
What the hell was that? Maybe I can use this dagger.
De lassan szalad ez a csávó.
Damn it! This dagger didn't work.
Ez sem működik.
Damn it! I have to use a specific dagger.
Meg fog halni. Ez sem működik. Beszarok. Ez
Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it?
két peggés, ez kell akkor. Az lesz az. Rohagy meg. Megvan.
What the hell was that?
Ez a jó.
This dagger looks different.
De bazd meg!
What the hell was that? This dagger looks different.
De bazd meg! Na végre. Mi a franc?
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
I ran, screamed, broke a pane of glass. You were in the next room and you didn't hear a thing.
If I hadn't heard a thing, I'd still be in the other room. The door was blocked. I got in as soon as I could. I like to look after my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
The creature. This dagger was the only weapon capable of pushing it back. If Hawkins was trying to get rid of this shambler, she might have made contact with Drake. This antique dealer has a good knowledge of the occult. I have nothing to lose by meeting him.
You've got your spunk back. Go where you want. I'm staying here to talk business with Irene.
Where's the bookseller?
Az már meghalt.
Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century. Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary. The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers placed truth on the same footing as a religion. What does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
Ez távolod meg.
What happened here? Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work. To whom does this footprint belong? This burglar seems to be rather clumsy. What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What killed all these animals? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the... Charles Hawkins? What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
Ide kell a kód.
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet? Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills? Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
Itt a kombináció.
A strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it. Arkham editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of him.
Mi ez a sok könyv?
How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
Ez a második, 9.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection?
Ó, érdekes.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
De mi lehet a kód? Mi lehet a kód? Hol van?
The chalice of knowledge. The chalice of knowledge. The Queen has little protection.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Lehet a szövegekbe van a kód.
The chalice of knowledge. The chalice of knowledge. The Queen has little protection.
Mit volt az első szöveg?
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
The chalice of knowledge.
Jó lett. Vagy halucinál? Megint máshol kerülök, vagy mi?
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Very well. I'll examine him.
Most a doktornőt kell irányítani.
30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin. Tender at the touch. Slightly sticky. Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail. And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier...
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients, provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
I've seen suction cups on his fingers, his falling body temperature, His dehydration. Had I only read the report, you know what I would have concluded, Doctor.
Do I? Tell me anyway. I'm curious.
He's no longer human. These are the attributes of an animal.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Don't you get involved in this. You've done enough already.
But Doctor, this man is dying.
There's nothing we can do about it. He's in the hands of Dr. Fuller. Do you wish to end up like Elizabeth? With a diploma from Nightingale and the chores of a cleaning lady?
No. You're right.
Let me do my own investigation. It's time I found those missing files.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep Mum.
Na akkor... Egyelőre ennyi.